It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. Thanks a lot for joining us. As I always say every week, the coronavirus pandemic is still very much a problem around the world. It's getting crazier even. The World Health Organization did say yesterday that they got over 200,000 new cases in 24 hours, which is the highest number since the pandemic broke out. In Nigeria, we're around the 28,000 confirmed cases mark. Over 600 have been confirmed dead as a result of contracting the virus. So as I say every time, please be safe out there. Observe all the rules that the NCDC and the World Health Organization have given out for us to try and fight this pandemic. They always say that the virus doesn't spread, you actually spread the virus. So keep that in mind as you go about your business. We're going to kick off the show today talking about politics. Politics is very much in the air. There's a lot happening with that space, especially the ruling party in the last couple of days and weeks. Leadership change and politics in Edo and Ondo is heating up as elections are coming pretty much fast at us. We're going to be talking about Godfatherism and Nigerian politics, and I have here with me a very special guest, Moyosori Ogunlewe. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to be joined in Abuja by Aisha Osori as we go on with the conversation. But let me start with you now. Godfatherism has sort of been a part of our politics since 1999, the return of democracy, amplified in so many different ways in different states. You are a politician, you've run for office a few times, but your dad is also a politician, like we know. How much of that was an influence in you getting into politics, and how much of his ideology is yours?
Thank you so much. We first need to identify or define what Godfatherism is. And to my view, Godfatherism is about mentorship. For every aspect of life, you need someone to mentor you. Even in the business world, the political world, you need someone to mentor you. And we also need to identify it on both ways, the negative side and the positive side of Godfatherism. The negative side, when it comes to politics, is when the Godfather has actually used maybe his powers to influence the internal democracy of the party, or to the detriment of the wishes of the people. So it's a two-way thing. On the positive side, what if he favors you? So Godfatherism has come to stay.
But is it a healthy thing that needs to stay? Because we hear a lot of times, even in developed democracies, there's a constant need to tweak the electoral process where they say, okay, are you accepting money from certain corporations? Because they will definitely have an influence in how you run your affairs when you become elected. Same thing with Godfatherism here. If someone is sort of the person who, for want of a better word, paid your way into that office, which is what most people say Godfather does. They fund your elections or your campaign. How independent are you to actually pursue the things you want to pursue as against pursuing that person's agenda?
Well, it's politics is dynamic. And then for every aspect of politics, there are different levels. At the ward level, whether you like it or not, there are apex leaders, there are traditional rulers, there are Christian associations, the Christian associations, and they also help in the politicking of whichever area you are contesting from. So in every aspect of it, there's Godfatherism everywhere. And to me, when I've run for office twice, and then I found out that you can't do without the Godfathers, because they were the one that set up the political party. And after setting up the political party, you have to go to them individually to tell them that you want to run for office. And going to them means that you are going to go and express your intention to run for office. And they call the yes, because they have the structure of the party. Every political party starts from the ward. And at the ward level, we have apex leaders. Those apex leaders are the ones that hold the structure of the party in every ward. So you must meet up with them to express your interest. And that's where it starts from.
Let me go to Aisha now, who's joining us from Berlin, actually, not in Abuja. Aisha, you have also run for office. You wrote a book that was quite an eye-opener for a lot of us who have not necessarily jumped into the space.
Thank you, Ebuka, and it's a pleasure to be on the show. I will start from where he started. I agree that Godfatherism can be looked at as a form of mentorship. But the truth is, it is a bit destructive for our politics and our level of development right now. In fact, while he would categorize it as mentorship, I would call it gatekeeping. Godfathers are the ones who dictate who participates in politics. and under what conditions. And if you look at the level of development in Nigeria, then you'd have to ask yourselves, is this culture, because that's what it's become a culture. Is this culture fit for purpose? Will it take us where we want to go? Is it time to retire it? And I'll say that, to be honest, Godfatherism has always been with us, not just since 1999, but in fact, actually from independence. People would argue that the Ahmadu Bellos, the Awos were godfathers of sort, but a less transactional type of godfatherism that we had at that time. They were more focused on development, trying to make sure that their regions developed well. You know, there was a sense of competition. That morphed into the 1979-1983 elections, where we also saw the godsons of the Awos and the Ahmadu Bellos now entering into politics themselves, and you would say those were the Bola Iges of their time. They still held some level of wanting to do good, wanting to promote, you know, good governance, trying to showcase, you know, free education, free health, as was the mantra in the Southwest. Or if you look at Aminu Kano and him trying to free the Talakawa. So there was still some ideology in our Godfatherism at that time. What really commercialized our Godfatherism and made it really hinge on two particular things of prebendalism and clientelism, which is basically using the state to finance individuals. That's the short story to that. Then the military came in. So what we saw was, with the military arrangement trying to promote democracy, they now commercialized Godfatherism. So all the shenanigans of IBB with SDP and NRC and retiring old politicians, by retiring the old politicians who were the ones who knew how to manage parties and structures, what they now did was now get their proteges. And that's how the Godfatherism we're promoting today came from. So he banned the Yaraduas, for example, from running. So they now pick their proteges, so the Atiku, the Babagana, Kingibe, and put them there in quotes. And that's what we continued till 1999, when we sealed it with the army arrangement, where the military cabal, let's call them that, now put in their own people into power, and it's just gotten worse from there. So the truth is, we're at the stage of our development where we should be asking, is this fit for purpose? Do we still want godfathers to run our parties, to dictate who gets into parties, to dictate who becomes candidates? Because the truth is, they just want to fuel the system. They want to maintain the status quo. And so that's the question that Nigerians should be asking.
I mentioned 1999 because, like you said, it's probably the time when it became more blatant with regards to how transactional it became. But you hear what he said. Is it possible to run politics? And not just Nigeria, like we all know. I mean, around the world, very few countries have had breakouts where you have someone who comes from nothing and, you know, starts this movement and actually becomes a leader. Around the world, these transactions happen. Are we complaining too much, maybe?
Is that for me or for him?
Go on, Aisha.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no. Are we complaining too much? Ebuka, the truth is, I don't think we're complaining too much. We don't have the basics. You know, if we were in America and we were telling me that, yes, there's lobbying and, you know, there's lobbying, there's also, you know, money politics and all that, I would say, fine. They can have the luxury of that. We are so underdeveloped. I mean, not very little works in our lives. We have very little public goods, and that's the cost of Godfatherism that we should be looking at. That the system hinges on sucking out so much of public resources that should be diverted to infrastructure, fighting insecurity, building public goods. Public goods is health, education, you know, safety, law and order, courts that work, infrastructure, electricity, water that runs. We don't have these things. So how can someone argue that, okay, these are things that are happening in other countries, so we should suck it up? Are we at the same level of development as other countries? If we're not, then we should be asking that this politics doesn't work for us. Politicking is one thing, development and good governance is another. And while the two are tied together, that's the reason why we should be examining our politics and the role of Godfatherism and saying, okay, if you want to control, then why are you not bringing up the best talent? Why are you picking people based on their loyalty to you as an individual, who will open up the coffers to you, who will ensure that you can put your appointments, you know, you can pick juicy appointments, as we call them in Nigeria, put people there, all designed to do what? What is the public good for this system that we can point to after 20 years?
What's in there? But is that a problem of the godfathers or the people who go to the godfathers? Like, I mean, if I'm a godfather, for example, and I want to sponsor a candidate, I expect certain things from him. So is that my fault as a godfather?
I I would say it's a mix of both. So you as a godfather, what's in it for you? You see, so that's the thing. That's where the transaction comes in. Are you in it because you want to make sure that, for example, Zamfara has the best type of commissioners coming out who know what they're doing, who are going to put laws in place? Are you doing it in Osho State because you want to make sure that everybody has health care, your police are well funded? What is in it for you? So you have to ask, it's not, the truth is like saying which comes first, the chicken or the egg. This system has been designed for a few men, and that's what they are, a few men, to control the system, not to further public good, but to just further their own personal ambitions and to be wealthy beyond the countries and the communities that they lead. So it is a bad thing. So if you are a godfather, then I would be asking you, what is your track record? You can't say because people come to you. People come to you because you're selling something. Everybody knows that you're the person who makes this happen. So they come to you rightly. And if you're really interested in good governance, then you would be saying, well, what is your criteria for wanting to lead? Have you done this? Have you done that? What is your track record? But instead, all they look at is, oh, somebody has been loyal to me, carrying my bag for a long time, waited their turn. Now their turn to eat, and let's put them in there.
Let me come to Moyo now. Moyo, something she pointed out there that stood out for me was ideology, which a lot of people in Nigeria have always said, what do these parties even stand for? Because if you are going to have a godfather, most times you are going to someone who shares the same ideology with you, right? I mean, you believe in free education, so you're not going to go to someone who believes that everybody should pay $1 billion to get an education. But here we have parties who, we had a governor who ran for office in a different party last elections. This cycle is going to be running in the party he ran against the last time. And the person who ran against him is running the party he ran. It's very confusing a lot of times. You are also guilty of that, for want of a better word. You were in the PDP, you have been in the AD as well with your dad, now you're in the APC. So shouldn't we be tying this ideology to godfatherism, or should it just be whoever brings the money, whoever dictates the tune?
Thank you very much. You see, Ebuka, I have a different case. And then the reason why I left the PDP for the APC was because that the PDP's leadership in Lagos was not ready to win the elections, was not ready to win any election in Lagos. And, there's a lot of things that go on during electioneering that is not about theory. The practical part of politics is what matters. And then during that election, I found out that even the agents of the PDP were not on ground for my election. Majority of them had already compromised for the election. So there was no how I could have won any election. So, but notwithstanding, I think we'll need to identify or understand the practical part of politics, which is the issue of godfatherism, whether we like it or not. It's going to be there. The ideologies of the godfathers are the ideologies of the godfathers.
That's the thing, is there an ideology?
Of course they do have an ideology, Ebuka. And, for you to survive in politics, you need a godfather. You need someone to mentor you. It's like in the business world. You won't just say you want to be a banker and not think of someone to mentor you, the likes of Jimovia and all those guys. So we need to understand how this thing works. It's like, even our fathers had godfathers, which were the likes of Awolowo, Zik, and all these guys. So you must understand that the godfathers would always be there, especially in Nigeria.
I get your points, which is what I'm still asking, because I understand the need for godfathers sometimes. I mean, like I've said, we've talked about the United States a lot. The NRA always comes up, National Rifle Association, where they are pro-guns, and they will most likely always pitch their tent with a Republican who runs for office. So they're sort of, they're towing a certain line because they believe in something,
exactly.
Right? Here, you said, let's not talk theory, let's talk practical, and what's happening on the field. We all know that this godfatherism here is about, I give you money, you run your elections, give me my money back with interest. Literally, that's what happens. Nobody really is asking, how many roads have you built with this since you got elected? I give you money, you run for office, you pay me back. So that is not an ideology, is what people are worried about. Why do these godfathers not seem to also bother about good governance?
No, you cannot say that. Some of them bother about good governance. And for example, you can see in different states, they are doing some few things. Yes, it might not be enough, and that's what we should complain about. But that we say that we give money to godfathers and then before we get elected to position, to me, that has not happened to me.
Yeah.
I only move around to see the leaders of the party, apex leaders, and then you must be closer to them. Because you see, the leadership, how would I put it? The leadership role in every society matters. The traditional rulers are older people.
Yeah.
You must respect them. Nigeria is a dynamic system, and we cannot say that we are going to push our leaders aside and then we'll do what we need to do. No, it's not going to work that way.
What do you think about what happened in Edo State? You're a member of the APC. You've seen what happened there. We all know clearly that the former chairman of the APC clearly campaigned for the current governor of Edo State. They've had whatever happened is what makes people wonder. If you guys were aligned ideologically, how did you become so vehemently against this person? And the person has now become a member of the other party, and the guy you campaigned against and called all sorts of names in the past is now a member of your party. How do you sort of explain that to someone who's watching from the sidelines? I wonder, so what does this stand for?
See, at that point, Adams Oshiomhole was like a brother was like a mentor to Obaseki. And along the line, the facts that we have is basically that Obaseki was probably rude to Oshiomhole or whatever it is. And Obaseki, Adams Oshiomhole, was one of the people that started the party in Edo State. And that's what we're talking about. Obaseki is from a banking background.
So
He doesn't have anything to offer until when Adams Oshiomhole brought him into the APC and said, well, you know what? Let's give.
So it's more a question of loyalty as against
loyalty. Let's give him a chance. And they gave him a chance, and he messed up the chance. And now Adams Oshiomhole is saying that it's not right for the party. And the chance is, whether we like it or not, the likes of Adams Oshiomhole were the people that started the party. They put in funds to set up the structure of the party that brought in Obaseki. Now those structures are bad, and they are saying that. So it's a two-way thing.
We need to go on a break, but let me quickly go to Aisha now before we go on that break. Aisha, we've seen so many new parties being formed. I think there's a new movement that's even started again a couple of days ago. But a lot of these movements start and fail very quickly. Why does that keep happening? Doesn't that attest to the fact that this Godfatherism needs to be happening for political parties to be sustained?
Well, I would say, first of all, what does it take to be a successful political party? That's one. And then what does it take to win elections? I think if we answer those two questions, we're able to understand why these parties fail. The truth is, in many of our administrations, you find that opposition is typically weak. People are actually even complaining that PDP could do a lot more on the federal level, for example. But the reason why our political parties are generally weak all the time across the board, and not just between 1999 to date, but even between 1979 to 1985, is because the financing structure for most political parties is reliant on public funds. And if you don't have public funds, you cannot have a party. So the structures that we keep talking about as if there's something made out of spirit air is that our parties rely on public funds for financing. And so if you are not in office, for example, you cannot fund the party. And if you cannot fund the party, then the party doesn't exist. So many of these 100, the other 98 or let's say 97 parties that we have in Nigeria, they're all just briefcase parties, typically even formed by regular politicians who want to use it when they need to file a lawsuit or when they want to blackmail someone into doing something. But they're all briefcase parties because the truth is you need funds. And so that's, again, now going back to why do you need all these funds for a party? To fund the party. Why can't you fund parties from dues, from sale of emblems, from sale of literature, which is what our parties in the 60s used to do. They were not doing it very successfully, granted, but at least they were even making a show, a pretense of trying to get independent financing. We talk about America. Go online to the Federal Electoral Commission and you will find the quarterly annual report, including donations for the Republican Party and Democratic Party. Do we know who donates to our parties? So you cannot have any viable institution without funding. So we should be asking the reason why Godfathers are powerful, the reason why, for example, a Saraki could leave PDP in the run-up to 2015 elections and join APC in Kwara State, which he did not start, and casually push aside everyone because he has the most money. So our politics is based on who has money, one, and who has power to mobilize state resources. So two, security agencies manipulating INEC. Let's not pretend. After every election, we have reports from our donor agencies from the EU that tell us what is wrong with our elections. We know.
We need to go on a break, Aisha. We're going to come back because Moya was shaking his head a few times when you were making your points there. We'll come back and find out why. Please don't go away. All right, welcome back. We're talking Godfatherism in Nigerian politics, and we just want to quickly wrap up the conversation. But before I get a final word, when she was talking there about public funds being sort of the key factor for funding elections, you were sort of shaking your head. What are your thoughts on that? It's an allegation a lot of Nigerians also believe that the incumbent always has the power because the funds are sort of limitless and nobody asks questions about how it's spent.
Thank you very much. We are businessmen that donate for elections. And that is also an aspect that we need to look at. Businessmen donate for elections because they have to survive. Their business would be at stake if there is political instability in the system. So they must also do donations. Friends do donations. So it's not about public funds that sets up the structure of a political party. It is the leadership of the party that sets up the structure of the party. Yeah. And that's what makes it look as if it is either the what's it called, the godfathers that are the one sponsoring. No, we have leaders across board. We have leaders across each of the local governments, each of the states that do donations and make sure the party works.
So what's the way forward now? Because I understand your point about godfatherism being a fundamental part of politics, but the way we're droning it here seems to be the worry for a lot of people. What's the way forward?
The only problem we have is that it has been institutionalized, meaning that is now something that everybody must follow suit. But the way forward in regards to godfatherism is if we have independent candidacy, which is we have, and also the electronic voting, where you finish voting from the polling booths, it's transmitted to the server of the INEC. That's what I feel that can solve the problem. But without that, the godfathers would always have their way.
And always call the shots.
Aisha,
just to get a final word from you, you've talked a lot about new politics, new parties, and how politics should be run. Going forward, are you hopeful? Do you see signs of things getting better? I mean, there's a do and undo coming up. The federal elections are in 2023. We'll have a few states coming up before then. Are you seeing anything looking different coming?
No, I'm not actually. We need reforms, and one of them is independent candidacy, but we also need to de-incentivize the reason why people go into politics in the first place. So it comes down to, what kind of powers people have, either at the state level, local government level, and the federal level. So that will also entail a bit of reforms in terms of where power lies and what people can do, and access to resources. But the way we are structured now, we attract the worst types of people to us. And the truth is, yes, there is a symbiosis between the private sector and politics, and it's been there forever. The NCC used to use the African Continental Bank, the AG used the National Bank of Nigeria. There's always been that link between private and public in our politics, but it's an unhealthy relationship. It doesn't serve any of us well. It doesn't serve the majority of Nigerians well. So yes, we need reforms. For me, that's the key. But we also need more demand from citizens. I think citizens should spread their passion. We can love Tasha and love Big Brother, but we should also love what is going on in our political parties. If we don't start funding them as well with small donations, we keep gazing to America. Go and check out America. Who is funding? Large amounts come from people who are donating less than $200. We saw a bit of that in 2015 with people donating to Buhari's campaign. We need more of Nigerians donating to campaigns, involving themselves in politics, and joining these parties. I'm sure that when more of us join these parties and see how they're actually designed to keep the status quo that we all want to change, we all want to run to Canada and other countries where citizens do more to ensure accountability. We all want to leave our own country that's rotten and run somewhere else where it's better, not realizing that citizens are the ones that built their country. So Nigerians are going to have to pay attention, spread their passions, and join politics, not necessarily by being candidates, but by funding the parties and being members and holding their leaders accountable. We need to start shunning and scorning these people. Where in the 21st century, look at the state of our nation. I don't know what godfathers and their godsons have to be proud about.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. I think just the word there is citizens have to do more, but at the same time, I think there's a big onus on politicians to also take responsibility for their actions. I know there seems to be a lot of people who don't get motivated by candidates, and because there's a belief, like she said, that things are not done in the interest of Nigerians. And as long as that is festering, most people would not necessarily feel the need to get involved. But thank you very much for joining us today, Moyo and Aisha.
Thank you, Ebuka.
Please come back. We're going to be talking entertainment.
All right.
When we come back, don't go away.
Nollywood Nollywood is such a fast-paced industry. Many actors have carved huge terrains for themselves. With huge fan bases, money, and endorsements, many of these actors, however, do not anticipate the drama from fans and colleagues. The fans sometimes pitch these actors against each other. These actors sometimes respond and sometimes they do not. And for many, it's a circle that never ends. On Rubbin Minds, Ebuka chats with actor Nkechi Blessing on the industry, how she got here, her future plans, and yes, how has she toughened up in an industry that takes no prisoners. Up next, Ebuka chats with Nkechi Blessing.
All right, welcome back. Yes, I do have a Nollywood starlet here with me, Nkechi Blessing Sunday. Thanks for being here today. How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you.
Have you been coping in the last, it's probably 4 or 5 months now that the world has shut down?
Like, we're trying to survive because we cannot complain.
Yeah.
We have to maintain all social distancing and every other thing the government has asked us to do so we can be safe and stay healthy.
I mean, everybody has said that entertainment is probably one of the sectors that has been the most affected because we sort of thrive in gatherings. If it's not a concert, it's a movie set. How has work changed for you?
It's changed a whole lot because no one goes to location anymore for the past 5 months. We've been home all through, trying to survive through social media, doing one skit or the other. It really affected a lot of us because most people, most importantly, the crew members, the sound men, the lights men, and the likes.
Because I was going to ask, how are you then surviving? Because a lot of people are saying, okay, you are trying to do things on social media, but how many people can actually do stuff on social media? And how rewarding is that financially? Okay,
for me, because I do influencing on social media, and it has helped a lot because I'm making posts, doing ads, and the likes actually made me an exception because I was making little money from my social media and influencing. So
you just amplify that more now.
Yes.
Let's come to you, because I mean, your name is, you have an Igbo name. And for a lot of people, it's been very interesting that you are such a huge deal in the Yoruba film industry. How did that happen?
I was born in Lagos. I know how to speak Yoruba very well. In fact, more than I can speak Yoruba. Apologies to all my Igbo family. And the thing is, the Yoruba industry, they accepted me with love when they realized I could speak the language very well. And I could act to some extent. So it's been a plus. Knowing how to act and how to speak Yoruba has been like a plus. And then, and aside from the fact that they accepted me with love, they are very accommodating and before you know it, Nkechi's everywhere.
Did you try out with like English or Igbo movies
before
I did.
That? Yes, I started off with the English sector, but I think it take too long before you can be popular in the English sector because there are a lot of people there. Not like there are not much people in the Yoruba, but in the English it is too much. I did a movie in 2007, Through the Fire, by Ememi Song. I acted with notable actors, Desmond Elliott.
So that was your first movie?
Yes, my first ever movie, before I switched.
Then when did you switch?
At 2010, then I switched to Yoruba, and it was just, I did not really do more than one audition. Then I was just...
Do you ever feel like you need to also put a foot in the English industry?
Yes, like, because from like last month, I did a movie with Ufoma, an English movie. I just finished one, City Hustlers, OG's Media, English movies, and I've done like a couple of English movies, 2019 and 2020. A lot.
There's something I want to talk about that's been on social media a lot in the last 2 days. A lot of people have been talking about colorism and how it affects Nollywood. Yes, certain people get better roles or get more roles because they are light-skinned or because they look a certain way. Do you feel like in the industry there's a color problem where light-skinned actors or actresses are more favored than dark-skinned people? Is it a thing, you think?
The truth is, I have never heard of that before in my own industry. You know, they try to separate us from the English, saying we are Yoruba hood, they are English hood. But to me, Nollywood is Nollywood. So I have never come across such saying, because you are fair, because you're dark, you cannot act some certain roles. Never have I heard of such before.
And you produce as well. Do you cast based on things like that?
No, I do not actually cast based on friendship even. I cast, if I know you can give me something, I cast you instead of using my friends. I don't do family and friends thing in my business. And I don't look at color because yellow, black, we are all Nigerians. So I don't cast based on favoritism. That's the word.
Well, since sticking with social media, you are quite the phenomenon on social media. I feel like every other day your story is on a blog about something you've said, something you've done, something that's happened. And I mean that literally, and I'm sure you agree with me.
Yeah.
Why do you seem to attract so much of that sort of attention?
I don't know, because most people think I do these things intentionally, and that's a lie. Because I think that is just me being me. Because the truth is I am very real. So, and I think the world do not like real people. They see you're the one, okay,
But sometimes
you talk.
do that to tick people off sometimes.
I'm not sure I do that. I actually realized it, that maybe people are thinking, okay, must you always talk whatever you see, or because you think it's right, must you be the one saying it? A lot of people knows that this thing you're saying is right, but they do not want to talk about it. Why must you be the one talking about it? Yeah. So I felt, oh, that means these people are going to hate me for being real. So lately, I have been keeping to myself a lot, because anything I do, it's always there. Have you seen me in the news recently?
Have you really?
I have been. Actually, have you seen me in the news recently?
Okay, let's take an instance. I mean, the AMVC has happened in March, and you put out this long video about how people borrow outfits, people need to... I mean, something like that, for example, did you need to do that or say that?
Funniest thing is, I was just playing around. That was on my Snapchat. If I actually meant what I was saying, it would have been on my Instagram. Like, I was just like, okay, now, the show don't end, though. A lot of people will borrow clothes. It's just normal. Like,
so who did you see that made you say that?
Nobody, actually. That is me. You know, most times my friends would be like, anytime if you are to be on my WhatsApp status, whenever I post stuff, they'll be like, Ikechi, who are you fighting with? I'll be like, I am not fighting with anybody. These things just comes to my mind, and I just want to write it down. Not like I have issues with anybody, or I am talking to someone in particular. Not at all.
But when you say something like that, you can see how people will think you're referring to somebody.
Yes, that's it. That's why.
So that's why the problem, seems to be a problem sometimes.
Like, for like 2 weeks, I'm not sure I've posted any video on my Snapchat because I think they are everywhere. So I just cut it out, because a lot of people keep saying I am doing this for clouds, I am doing it for attention. And I'm like, I am the attention myself. I don't need to do these things to get attention. I just do them unconsciously, and it is out there on the blogs. So.
Talking about attention, it's a little interesting that you say you don't look for attention, because you put out a post recently saying, sort of bashing people who have fake accounts to troll people. And you said that even you had done that in the past.
Fine. Thank God.
I mean, for a lot of people, it's like, okay, how do you preach against something you
I have once done?
Of?
Okay, fine. This is what I meant. You know, Nigerians, you must always spell out your words before they can understand what you're trying to say. What I meant by me being... maybe I might have trolled someone before, was using my original account. Okay, I remember the last time I had a fracas with Juliet Ibrahim. We exchanged words, and it was my real account. Like, I said some really hurtful things to her, which I knew was hurtful to her. And she also, in return, said same things to me that hurt me really bad. And that was me using my account. Every other of my colleagues that I might have had issues with was with my account. You get, maybe all these things you said that always gets me to the blog. Maybe I just write something on my Insta story, abusing somebody, was with my main account. So I sat down and I said... So
you never had a fake account?
I never had. I did not have a reason to have one, because the truth is, I'm sorry, there's nobody I can't talk to. Because worst comes to worst, you will fight me, you will not talk to me anymore. So it is stressful for me going through the stress of opening a fake account just to abuse someone. Come on, what I won't say to you in front of you, I'd rather not say it at all. That's
You mentioned your fights, with Juliet Ibrahim and a lot of other. Why do you seem to be caught in those spaces a lot?
It was not me, actually. What happened with our issue was, okay, I was on a set, a movie set. Arole is a comedian. Yes. He does not know you don't need to slap hard in a movie, because he's not an actor. So he slapped me really hard, and I could not see for 10 seconds. I was partially blind. So I had to tell the director to cut. So Tunde Edna posted that clip, and then Julian went under that post and commented saying, that is unprofessional. And I went under her comment and I said, hello, ma, you don't expect me to go blind on set because I want to act, and you don't expect me to tell the director to cut. In some might look see it as being unprofessional. But me, I cannot come and die because I am acting. So I had to tell her, ma'am, you don't tell me that. I had to now post another video, a clearer video of how my face was. So many people said, sure, you want to come and die because you're acting film. Do you understand? So she said so many things, and then I attacked her back, and we're just giving ourselves back to back on Instagram. You understand? So,
but you do those things and you know that it's going to get you this sort of attention, so you must enjoy it. Come on.
Most times I do, but not all the time, because, too much of controversy is not really good. You have to cut it down at some point. Yeah.
was it 2018? There was a story about an engagement that turned out to be. Some people said it was fake. You faked this engagement. So my point here is this: you keep saying you don't like this attention, you don't attract it, but then you do all of these things that makes it look like, oh, let me fake these engagements and get people to talk.
Actually, what happened on that set? I think on Iyabo Ojo was on that set. We were supposed to shoot a film that has to do with ring, and then the engagement ring was here. And then she said it's not supposed to be here. It was like a practical on set, that the ring was not supposed to be on this finger. It was supposed to be on this finger, so it goes directly to the heart.
Yes.
So while we're trying to practice how to wear the ring properly, the director now said, if I said I'm proposing to you now, it will go viral. I'm like, it will? Are you sure? Auntie Yabo said it will. And I said, okay. Let's just do it.
So that's you looking for attention.
It was not me looking for attention.
But that's what it is. I mean, if you're faking and you put it on social media, you know people are going to talk, and then you want to get them talking.
Okay, let's just say then. Okay, all right.
So I mean, this was 2018, 2 years ago. There's nothing that says that some of the things that have happened even after that were not also intentional to get attention, right?
Well, to me, or me personally, I think what I want it to get out there, I'll post it on my Instagram. I never knew bloggers were on my Snapchat because I feel my Snapchat is quite personal to me. That was what I thought.
Social media, everybody's on everybody's social media.
That was what I thought. So, and then since then, trust me, people on my Snapchat can tell I stopped a lot of things. I stopped. One day, I actually made a video. I was talking about something that would hit to someone. I just deleted it. I'm like, please, I beg, I don't want. Because most times, especially the insults, it gets to me at some point where I'll be like, oh, especially that blog, once it's there, it's hot. So I just had to cut it. I'm like, please, let everybody just live their life.
So do you regret some of these things? You sound like, I mean, you wish that you didn't do them.
Yes, of course I do.
Are there lots of things you've done that you wish you didn't?
No, not really. Maybe one or two.
Like what?
Which of them? I can't remember.
Or maybe fights you've had with people that you wish you did.
Okay, yes. The only fight I think I regretted I had with Juliet Ibrahim is the one I am still regretting, because after the fight, I apologized to her. I sent her a DM. She read, she did not reply, and then she blocked me.
So you guys have not... When was this again?
That same 2018.
And you guys haven't seen her since then?
Nah,
you haven't had a conversation? So have you reached out or tried to have a face-to-face since then?
She has blocked me. I don't know where, but I said to myself, the very next time I get to see her on on a movie set or anywhere, I will go to her first. I'm like, ma'am, I am sorry again. Because I said, I typed a long note in her DM. She read it and she did not reply. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like these controversies have made you this person you are now? I mean, you have a huge following on social media. There's people who always say it's not enough to be a talented actor. Yeah. Sometimes you need to throw things out there to spice up your brand so that people talk about you and you get talkability. So do you like the fact that these things have sort of amplified the image of who Nkechi Blessing Sunday is?
The controversy part that has given me fear of my endorsement, that part is interesting. But the other part that it has given me, let me say, a lot of people who do not know me, they judge me from these things they read on social media. So aside from it has its own advantage and disadvantages, right? The advantage is the part that I get popular. I have huge followings. I have people who wants to deal with me because they think anything that has to do with me will be out there. Yeah. Then some other people don't just like that vibe, so they do not like me. So that's the only part that I don't like, that, oh, okay, because I am being too controversial, some people do not like me. Yeah. So it goes both ways. Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we'll find out more about Nkechi Blessing Sunday and what she has coming up in the rest of the year. Please don't go away. We represent All right, welcome back. I'm here with Nkechi Blessing Sunday, Nollywood actor, and we're talking about her life and, you know, all of the interesting stories around her. And one more I want to touch on before we continue is this story about a car you bought that was quite controversial. You put up a picture, they said it wasn't your picture. Someone who owned the car came and said, oh, it's my car that you're posing with. You know, what was that about? Okay,
the Benz, right?
Yes.
Okay, the thing is, the guy that sells the car is my very good friend. So when I told him I wanted to change my Venza, he said, okay, he had a GLK that he was going to sell to me. I said, okay, fine. He sent a picture, and I said, okay, we're going to swap. I give him my Venza, and I take the Benz. He said, fine. So before getting there, I just posted the picture on my status. Not like I just said, okay, incoming. Then a friend of mine took the picture and posted it on Instagram. And before you know it, everybody started posting. And I have not even gotten to Chevron to swap the car. And then, okay, when I saw the car, I'm like, but this is not the picture. No, I did not at first. And when I got to Chevron, I'm like, this is not the picture you sent me. This is a different car. He said, yes, that is the picture he has until he got to the car. And I'm like, you don't do that. My friend already posted, and a few people are already posting. And it was like, then the owner of the car now sent a DM threatening. I'm like, nobody stole your car. It is your picture, but I have my car. And I sent him a picture of my car, and the person was like, no, that is how you people do. And I'm like, is it that because you think you know it's me? Once you post this thing, it's going to go viral. That's why you're doing this. Then you can have your way. He wanted me to beg, and I'm like, I cannot beg you. Because I just explained to you what happened, and you do not want to listen. You want to go out and just make it a big deal. No problem.
Yeah.
I have my car, you have your car. Not like I stole your car or something. So that was it.
You have a child.
Yes.
How old is the child?
1 year plus.
Okay. A lot of people were wondering, this speaking just appeared.
Jesus, why?
You know, I'm not trying to dig in. I mean, I know family is always very personal, but I'm trying to frame this right. You say it's a year plus?
Yeah.
Were you in a relationship at the time? Because this sort of came after this engagement story happened. People were saying, oh, was she actually married? Did she have, what happened there?
You know, the thing is, let me clear my throat. I am a celebrity.
Yes.
People who they celebrate is a celebrity, right?
Yeah.
I live a private life with a public lifestyle.
Yes.
That's the word. So talking about my child, it is something I don't want anybody to interfere in.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, they keep asking, even people close to me, who is the father? And I'm like, Una, husband lost. Why are you so, why are you so interested in knowing who the father of my child is? It's something I don't want to talk about. Okay, I'm not in good terms with the father, so I am taking care of my son, myself. That's just it.
Is he someone in the industry?
He's not.
Okay, so someone completely out of the industry.
Out of the industry.
But how's the child doing?
He's very fine. His name is Nova, my son. Too cute. People call him Chinese. His father is very fair. He lives in the US, so nobody knows him.
Okay, fair enough. Good to hear that. This brand that's associated with you of controversy, you are saying here that you don't think you're controversial. A lot of these things just happen. So you don't think it's a fair sort of description of you?
Because I don't like it when they tag me controversial. Because I don't know. Like I said before, I do these things unconsciously.
Yeah. And you're saying you're trying to be different now.
Yes, I am trying to be, because I am trying as much as I can to stay off the news of negativity.
Okay, let me get sorry to cut you. Let me get something clear. So you say this is who you are. You are very opinionated. You say your mind, and people seem to take offense with that. And now you want to stop that. So are you going to stop being yourself? How does that work for you? I am not going to stop being myself, but I am only going to stop always letting out how I feel on social media. So whatever it is I feel within me, I say it to myself, and that's it. Yeah. Bringing it to the gram makes it look like, okay, she don't start again. Yeah. You understand? So whatever I feel, I say it to myself and just let it go like that. I am not going to stop being me. I am not going to stop being the person I have been over the years, because some people do not like me. While some people do not like me, some find me very attractive. Some find me very interesting. Some likes my personality. They like how real I am. So not everybody will like you. If everybody likes me, that means I have a problem. Yeah. So going back to Nollywood now, especially the Yoruba movie industry, there's always this talk about camps, and movie houses, who you are sort of tied to. Who are your friends in the industry? I know Toyin Abraham is probably one of them. Number one friend, of course. Who are some of your friends in the industry that you would say are your people? I do not have too many friends because of these same camps that you just talked about. Yeah. Because so the camps are definitely valid. It happens everywhere. Yes, of course. It happens even in the English sector. They have their clique. Yeah. Okay, I am friends with this person. I don't want to be friends with this person. Me, in Kechi Blessing Sunday, I am friends to so many people. But I just have my favorites. The people like that I look up to in different aspects of life. Toyin Abraham is number 1. Mercy Aigbe is number 2. Funke Akindele-Bolu is number 3. And Iyabo Ojo is number 4. They have different personalities that I learn from. Yeah. So aside that, I am cool with every other people. Every other person. Are there people you will never be in a movie with? Be honest. There are nobody I can never be. Honestly, even if I have an issue with you, Ebuka, and it casts me with you, I'll act and then bounce. That's how it is. I am going to be professional like that. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot is happening with Nollywood now. There's just the movie industry is booming. I mean, until the COVID-19 came in, a lot is happening. Africa Magic is doing great. Netflix has come into the mix. Yeah. The cinemas are doing great. How are you feeling about the industry today? Impressive, especially the Netflix part. Impressive, because I see a lot of great movies from
Nigeria
the world
going on
can see
Netflix,
now.
and people are accepting it with love. Like the other movie was #1 all through Elevator Baby that Toyin was in. Fantastic. So I have not really done any movie this year. So the next time I am going on set, I am going to try as much as I can to do a Netflix kind of movie.
Yeah.
By His grace.
Yeah. Does that still mean? I mean, because people always say,
If it's not on Netflix, it's not happening. Yeah.
yes, there's that. But I mean, the Oscar conversation even started last year with Genevieve Nnaji submitting her movie, which was a big deal. But of course, they now got eliminated because of a language issue. And there's this talk about, okay, we need to start making more movies in our indigenous languages. That means stepping up quality of Igbo movies, Hausa movies, Yoruba movies. Are you still going to stick to doing that, or you want to sort of diversify? What's the plan with this doing Netflix quality movies?
I am going to, good a thing, I can speak Yoruba very well. I can speak Igbo very well. So not like very, very well to some extent.
Yeah.
Those, it's written, it's on the script. So if I want to do any movie now, it is something I have to sit down and plan, not just rushing, because most of these movies that people do these days, always rushing.
Yeah.
But now, in the past before COVID, a lot of producers
Quality was
have,
stepping up.
yes, they've improved. So I would not want to go less, so I have to go high. So.
Before we go now, what's coming up for you in the coming months? Any things we should look out for, movie-wise? Are you branching out of movies? I don't know. What's next? I mean, the second half of the year is just kicking off now.
Like I was speaking with my my team before I came here. Like, okay, we're planning a major movie. Like I said, a Netflix kind of movie. So we'll be putting works together and then try to come up with something.
Okay. At
least we need to try.
Yeah.
So,
So you're also in production, though, like you said.
yes, of course.
So how much of that is going to be happening still going forward? Because it's an expensive thing to do.
I think I'll just do, it's just 6 months. I might just do just one. One is one. One should do, to me, if you do one movie in a year and it goes
As
well.
a producer?
Yes.
But as an actor, is that sustainable?
No. As an actor, you have to be in several movies now.
Yeah.
But as a producer, if you produce one hit, it takes just one hit to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you produce just one hit in a year, you're good.
Yeah. So just a question that popped up in my head now before we go. Because people have always talked about, the remuneration of actors, how much they earn and how bad it is in this industry. And you just said now that as a producer, you make money. Which is why most people are running to produce now. When is it going to start reflecting on the actor's pay?
That is one thing I would like to talk to. This goes to the producers producing the movie. It depends on the budget they are using to shoot. The budget determines how much they pay the actor. So what I would advise to all producers watching me right now is, before you go into production, make sure you have enough to give your actors, because these people they have families, and most times, like you said, the money they pay them are not always enough.
Yeah.
I don't know about the English sector. I'm talking about my people, because they need to do more. Most importantly, there are lots of unknown faces who are doing well. Aside, like me, when I started, it was just a passion for me. But as time goes on, aside passion will not feed my family. I still need to make money out of what I love doing. So if you have to make a production, you need to have enough money for your actor. And if you do not bother producing at all.
I like that.
That's it.
Thank you very much,
You're
Nkechi
welcome,
Blessing Sunday. All the best with the rest of the year. And please stay safe.
Stay safe.
We
Keep
all need to
social
stay safe.
distance. Thank you, sir.
But like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Rubbin Minds now is the handle. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you tweet at us. I'll see you next Sunday.